Hey guys, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today I'm doing my intro outside of my local fruit market. I'm going in to do just a little bit of shopping, and it has to do with today's video, which is going to be my homemade pork carnita tacos. I'm going to show you how I make those. And the reason I'm at my local fruit market is they have some of the best pork shoulder I can find. And they have great meats, they have great vegetables, they have great lunch meats. I really love this store. If you guys have watched my other videos and my grocery hauls, you're probably like, this girl doesn't eat a fruit or a vegetable. I do. We just don't buy them in bulk because we come to this fruit market and we basically only come here for certain cuts of meat. We come here for our fresh lunch meat and we come here for our produce. So I've never done a grocery haul from here because I come home with just such a few things. But since I was here, I just thought I would say hi before we get to my kitchen when I get home and I start cooking up the pork carnitas. So I hope you guys stick around and watch this video, and I will see you back in my kitchen. I'm back home in my kitchen, and I tried to show you a little bit of the market, but I got yelled at after about 2 seconds. So this is what I ended up getting. It's the pork shoulder butt roast, and there's 2 pieces in there. This is 4.62 pounds. And I also have a piece that I had in my freezer that's almost 3 pounds. So now we're looking at almost 8 pounds. I've never cooked more than 5 pounds. I usually do 4 to 5 pounds. So I'm going to be cooking this in batches because first it's going to go in the Instant Pot on pressure cook, and then I'm going to be air crisping it in my Ninja Foodi. So we're going to do batches because I've never cooked more than 5 pounds. And I know the time for this, I'm going to be setting it at 55 minutes on the Instant Pot. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to show you how it looks, and then I'm going to get it trimmed up. If you've ever cooked with pork shoulder before, and this is boneless, they do have bone in, but I got the boneless. It does have a lot of fat throughout, which is great for carnitas, but whenever there's excess on the side like this, I'm going to trim it off because we don't want to cook all of that. So I'm going to get both of these trimmed up. Then we're going to cut them up in chunks and we're going to get them into the Instant Pot. Just to show you how I trim this up, as you can see, there's still plenty of fat throughout, which is good. We want that. But all of that there in the back, that's what I've taken off because this piece did have quite a bit on the sides. And I'm just going to do the same thing with the other piece. Now that I have trimmed all the extra fat off, I've just cut it into chunks. They don't have to be perfect. Pieces about like that, 2 or 3 inches by 2 or 3 inches, just however you want to do it. I mean, basically about that size. So I'm just going to get this in the bowl. We're going to add a little bit of seasoning right now before we get it into the Instant Pot, but there's going to be a lot more seasonings that go with this. So check it out. I'm starting just by adding some olive oil, and then I'm going to be adding some salt and pepper. Now, this is the 4.62 pounds. I'm going to be cooking this on pressure at 55 minutes. Whenever I cook 4 pounds, I do 45 minutes. If I'm doing 4.5 to 5 pounds, I do 55 minutes. And then I do about a 10-minute natural release before I release the pressure. And I am going to be cooking the other one. I'm just not going to show you guys this. We are taking this with us out of town. That's the reason that I'm making so much right now. So I'm just going to finish seasoning it with the salt and the pepper. Then it's going to be time to get it into the Instant Pot, and we're going to be putting that on the sear saute function to start. In this recipe, you're going to be using quite a bit of liquid, and the reason for that is when you make so much of it, you want to have the extra juice, because if you don't finish it and you want to freeze it, you do want to freeze some of that juice for when you're reheating it at a later time, because it will dry out, especially since you're air crisping it. So I'm juicing a couple of oranges. You want to get about a cup of liquid, like almost a cup of orange juice, and then maybe a third of a cup of lime juice. So just about 3/4 of a cup of the juice to maybe a cup and a half ish of the juice, but we also will be adding a little chicken broth and some water. So I'm just going to finish juicing up these oranges and limes, and then we'll move on to getting the rest of our liquids together. These ended up being pretty good juicing oranges. I got about a cup of juice from 2.5 oranges. So now I'm just moving on to my limes. So we have our lime and our orange juice back there. I also have 1 cup of water that I've added about a teaspoon of Better Than Bouillon chicken broth to, and that's what we're going to be using to deglaze the pan after we sear this meat. We're going to sear it in the Instant Pot on the sear saute, take it all out, and then that's going to be used to deglaze. I also have 3 cloves of garlic that I've minced and about 1/4 of an onion that I'm just going to throw in like that. I'm setting my Instant Pot on sear saute. I've put about 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil in there. Once it heats up for a couple minutes, I'm going to start putting the meat in. I'm going to put about half in, get it all nice and seared up so it's brown on all sides. It does not have to be, you don't want to cook it all the way through. Just get it nice and seared on all sides. Take it out, and then whatever you have left in the bowl, throw that in. Do the same thing. Take it all out, and then it'll be time to deglaze the pan and start adding all of our other seasonings. So that's about half in there. I'm just going to let it sear. I'm going to flip it every couple minutes until it's brown on all sides. Throw my other batch in, and then we'll be back. Now I have all of it out. It's all nice and browned up. Now it's going to be time to deglaze the pan. Here's how it's going to look. And if you're familiar with the Instant Pot, or even if you're doing this in any other type of pressure cooker, like I do it in my Ninja Foodi too, you have to deglaze that, because you're going to get a burn notice, especially on the Instant Pot. So I have my Better Than Bouillon and my 1 cup of water in there. And the best thing I find for this is a wooden spoon, and you have your sear saute still on, so it's hot, and you just want to keep scraping it until it's very smooth on the bottom. If you feel any spots where there's that burn on there, you're probably going to get a burn notice, and that's not fun. So just keep scraping until it's smooth, and then it's going to be time to get everything back in the pot with all of our other seasonings. To that cup of liquid that we used to deglaze the pan, I added half of my meat, and now I'm throwing in those 2 chunks of onion, about 1/4 of an onion. Then I'm going to add the rest of my meat to the top. We're going to add our orange and lime juice, which was just a little more than a cup. So now we have 2 cups of liquid in there. I'm adding my garlic. Then it's going to be time to add our seasonings. I have about a tablespoon of oregano, a tablespoon of cumin, a teaspoon of smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder. I just kind of sprinkled, and same thing with some black pepper. So those are the seasonings we're going to add. And then we are going to add 1 more cup of liquid, and I'm just using 1 more cup of water. So we do have 3 full cups of liquid in here, and that's what you want, because if this is not something your family is going to eat in one night, this is quite a bit of meat. And I also am making another batch, but that's beside the point. Even if you're just making this, it's almost 5 pounds. It's a lot. So if you're going to freeze this or use it for leftovers, you're going to want to have all that good broth left over. You can keep it in the fridge. You can freeze it along with the meat, maybe in a separate container for the next time you have it. So don't worry about having too much liquid. The more liquid, the better. So we're gonna get the top on and get this under pressure. I've hit the pressure cook button and now I'm taking it up to 55 minutes. I think I told you in the beginning, if I'm doing 4 pounds, to me 45 minutes is perfect for this recipe. For 4.5 to 5 pounds, I'm doing 55. After 55 minutes, I'm going to let it natural release for about 10 minutes and then I'm going to release any remaining pressure. It's been natural releasing for 9 minutes. Now I'm just gonna release the rest of the pressure. I'm gonna take the lid off, and I know this is done, but I'm just one of those people who has to take the temperature of my meat all the time. I don't know. It's just what I do. So that's how it looks in the bowl. Here is all that extra juice. It is so good. Definitely freeze this. Even if you do eat all of the meat, which I never do, I would still freeze it. I mean, this is so good. You can always use it next time. Pour it in your pot. There's so much flavor. Look how tender that is. I'm just using a fork. I don't need my meat masher or a potato masher or anything. It's just falling apart. So I'm going to get this all shredded up. Then we're going to pull out our Ninja Foodi and we're going to get this air crisped, and it's going to be even better. At this point, I'm putting it all into the air crisp basket. I have it at 375 for 10 minutes. I've done this many times, so I know I will cook it for the whole 10 minutes. Then I'll give it a good mix because it'll already be nice and crispy, but I want to get the rest of it crispy. So I'm just going to close the lid and forget about it for 10 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm just going to start chopping up some of my toppings. So what I've done, I just have white onion, I have cilantro, and I have some of the crumbling cheese. Also, I have some green sauce from one of my favorite restaurants that we had tacos at a few days ago. So I have the kind that I like that I buy from the store, but this stuff is just so good. And I had a few extra containers, so I'm using this. I'm only going to have a couple tacos tonight because we are bringing this out of town with us to our family's house. So we can't eat them all tonight. I'm just having a couple of these because I have to show you guys, right? That's fair. Okay, and those are the tortillas we're going to be using. So we're going to let it finish air crisping, and I'm going to show you how it looks after the 10 minutes. Here's where we're at after 10 minutes. I ended up mixing it up. I put it back on air crisp for only about 4 minutes. Normally I would do like another 6 to 8 minutes. But since we're going to be traveling with this and reheating it, I didn't want it to get too dried out, even though we do have that extra juice. Here's how I like to do my tortillas. Let me know if you guys do this too. I mean, I know a lot of people have electric stoves, so probably not. But if you have a gas stove, do you do this? I think this is the best way to eat tortillas. You just put them right over the flame. You let them bubble up a little bit. Turn them over, as dark or as light as you like. But I think they taste the best this way. So I'm going to finish cooking up my tortillas, and I'm going to get these tacos together and show you how they look. There's our meat after we air crisped it for a few more minutes. Now I'm just going to start putting together my tacos. If you guys don't have an air fryer, you can always pressure cook it, shred it, put it in the oven on a cookie sheet or a foil pan. We did reheat these in an oven in the foil pan when we took them with us this past weekend. It's fine. And even if you don't have a pressure cooker, you can do this in the crock pot. Just put the meat in the crock pot, let it go all day, take it out, shred it, and put it in your oven. So you definitely don't need an Instant Pot, an air crisper, any of that to make this recipe. You can follow this recipe, throw it in the crock pot, throw it on a cookie sheet in the oven. But that's it, pretty easy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, please do. I would love to have you around. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.